match really does start now. I was wrong about something else, too. It's just like you said. I hope you'll forgive me.
Now that you finally decided to wake up, I guess I'm not gonna be able to keep fighting like this.
But I'm afraid that still won't be enough to win.
Oh, I'm not...
I see now. The blood travels down into the arms through the inner... Hold something in your armpit, so that it'll stop the bleeding by cutting off the blood flow through the inner arteries. By tightening the muscles in your upper through the outer veins. Without blood, the hands and fingers grab...
You really know what you're talking about.
Yes, this is much better. It's finally face to face. Just like in a ring. That was a great body blow, especially in these restrictive conditions. It's remarkable that you could...
To 18 years.
He was just stuck there, right in the wall, pulled through it into the other cell. So there I was, looking through the wall. Well,
get out of the way.
You bet I got out of the way. He was holding Baki's arm and leg like this. But did he throw... You know what I mean? Just flinging him around, like a towel. But he was doing it to a person. I mean, obviously there was a difference in strength, but to the boss, he was nothing more than a towel. And then, because he went into the next cell, and the next cell, and the next cell.
Old. 8-year sentence.
Like authority, rules, and laws. I mean, most people would think when they hear that nickname, right? Honestly, just being allowed to do whatever you want, that there's no room that can hold him. I mean, the guy went through 3 solitary cell walls. No, so that end.
Yeah, I'll tell you what happened after that. He had this surprisingly calm look in as he was getting up. Baki struck out with a kick directly. But even more amazing was how easily Mr. Oliver grabbed him. He's so fast, like some kind of Olympic torchbearer. And then he... At first, I never heard a sound like that before. Baki Hanma's outline had been... What was Oliver thinking then? I don't really have time around him. For his own power, even if it was just rolling over from face down to face up.
Strongest man, Biscuit Oliver. Thing running through me. I was fighting against my father, Yujiro Hanma. It's essentially an echo. Ah, there it goes. It laughed. What? Am I melting? Smooth, just like water. Oh, I like water.
Yep, that... It wasn't as simple as that. It was the floor. On the spot where he'd been lying. Right where his back had been pressed to Tales and Legends, but... That was my first time It's called Hit Muscles Exercise. It's also called... They're watching him. Baki seemed to look like him. The most skilled swordsman in the world. Musashi Miyamoto's physical ability surpassed even a mere teenager. Looked just like that extraordinary martial art.
Really shouldn't make your elders wait as long as this. You look good now.
Fate decided in an instant. Mr. Oliver was fully aware of the change that had come.
You know...
That in that moment, I didn't blink. And then, as if he changed his mind, he hit the ground.
Dad! What is he doing?
Sphere. It was like that one animal. Partly because of the job that I have, I'm pretty familiar with martial arts. Martial arts make use of the joints. In other words, the angles of the body. The human body at his face. When someone turns into a ball right after so a jumping roundhouse kick. He just bounced right off. It was completely unexpected, so you could tell. He had downed several bottles of wine, so he was in.
Now watch this.
Reached his shoulder, went behind his head, and then continued onto his opposite arm. Of course, he could do it simultaneously in different parts of his body, too. And he used that ability to make Baki bounce off him. He deflected.
I just remembered. I thought it felt familiar. I've seen this technique before. But it's the same. And so is the way to defeat.
The technique that saved you before.
So it won't work again.
Rigid body technique. And certain joints in the human body are used when a person makes a chopping motion. Force also limits how much power you can put into a strike. However, if those same shock...
I can become a 130-pound iron ball. When your opponent is a moving target, such as a person.
Oh, that sound. It was just from one man. Then... Unbelievable turn. Oliver basically swallowed a whole person. Already beyond what any of us could imagine, but there was more. From when I was a kid. I just caught this. It was only a few blocks away. Even though I'd carried it so carefully. Because of losing that being closed. In Baki's case, he was enclosed under the full force of Mr.
Won't. If this were a fight in the ring, with a... But then, sadly for you, this place... So, who then? Who's gonna decide when this fight is over? You will.
Is that so? I guess it'll never... A referee can't be expected to decide a match between opponents who hate each other. Simply no other way. And if that's true, then Ollie, my boy, you just revealed you appeared to be on the losing side. But there's no way I'm gonna...
Not again!
Really shouldn't have underestimated me. You can't use the same technique twice against a top-tier opponent.
You little punk!
Let me guess, I'll pay for that? Hey, come on, man. You can't just keep playing this...
I don't need tricks to beat you.
What we're doing is nothing but a waste. Just feel... Let's trade punches.
Punches.
Come on, face to face. Plan our...
200 pounds lighter than him just suggested they stand there and duke it out.
You little punk!
Just calling out a warning. Or you're gonna get killed! Earlier. Typically, in these situations, we could shoot a prisoner without... He was totally right. No one could argue otherwise, so we just listened. For a middleweight like you, try...
Get it. I understand.
That was it. There was no stopping them anymore. Going to exchange what would probably be the strongest punches in the history of the world!
Close now. The end.
But I don't know. Because none of us who were there could bear to watch. It was just watching and waiting.
Oliver won't be defeated. With technique, that's not what defeating Oliver is about. He's got 200 pounds on me. Relentless. All the way to the far wall and beyond.
Who knew that these kinds of men even existed? Who knew that this kind of fight could actually happen? Please.
This mere back! No, he's doing it! This boy who's a...
I can barely lift my head.
Call the infirmary, quickly!
Yes, sir.
Here?
You just lost, didn't you? But I'm exhausted. I can't walk anymore. What? Do you plan on having that
right away from me? Gordon, I have an announcement to make to all the inmates.
Huh?
Well, that rumor's true. And as a result, I'm sorry to say that I'm no longer deserving of being called... I just can't stand it. No way in hell! So, Warden, go ahead and process him. Go...
Hey, trying to get that done so quickly would be,
You can handle the paper thing, isn't it?
I was released pretty fast. Cash. Biscuit Oliver, Mr. Unchained, the helicopter escort to the airport to make sure I got on the plane and left.
Developing faster than expected, doesn't it? Seems like Baki's idea of shadow boxing against an imaginary praying mantis was your slaughter of that gigantic African elephant. Chained Oliver, matching his sheer strength, and even... You know, Ogre, out of everyone in this...
Talking.
I'm sorry. Let's change the subject. Stuffed animals somehow came back to life. They'd be able to defeat these creatures?
I doubt if he'd try in the first.
What about this one?
That'd be more difficult, and he wouldn't come out of it unscathed. Toy store. Maybe you need me to shut...
I got it. No more questions. Don't worry, I won't ask. And you're about to face off against someone who's probably the greatest opponent of your entire life.
Huh? If so, he'd be fulfilling his...
Do you think you'd be able to defeat you? Yujiro?
Located in Colorado, in the United States of America. 100 meters beneath it, in a rock salt bed. Excavators working there had come to a halt and were just standing still, unable to believe what they saw in front of their eyes.